Now, welcome back. We are going to be looking at the profit and loss statement sheet. Fine. Just ensure you pay close attention to my explanation here. It can be a little bit tricky. There are a couple of things I will be saying here that you need to pay attention to. Now, beginning from this very row, the total sales. The value you're seeing here, this refers to P1 component, that is January, February, depending on what the month your year starts from. This is January, February for us, March, April, down to the next year. And these values came from our forecast table. Now, from the forecast table, you see January, February, 446. If you come over here, can you see that? 446. When you click in the cell, you see that the value came from forecast C15. This also came from forecast C32. So that's what happens from this point down to this, from this down to this. What do you have here? The gross profit, that's the profit before tax and others. It's just the summation. Look at it. Oh, sorry, did I say summation? The difference between the cost and the sales price. So that's how we got this. The same thing applies to this down to this. I think there's no problem with that. Now, what you have here, this is the summation of B5 to M5. Now, this is B and this is 5. So when you add this to this to this down to this, it gives you this. That is clear. This same thing, summation of this, and this, the summation of this. That one is clear. Let's move straight now to the section that handled expenses. Operating expenses, the value we have here came from operational plan worksheet. Now, from the operational plan worksheet, Q9 cell contains this value. If you come straight back to the operational worksheet, Q9, where is Q? This is Q, this is 9 for this very month. I think that makes sense. So let's come back. The next thing is the interest. The value you have here, if you look up in your formula, you see financial plan H5 plus financial plan H6. What this means is that the value you have here, since we're doing bi-monthly projection, if we go back to the financial plan worksheet, this value came from H5 and H6. Let's go back. Financial plan. Where is H? This is it. 5. This is 5. And that refers to the first month. This is 6. That refers to the second month. So the same applies as you move from the left hand side to the right hand side. This is 2 months. Call it January, February. This is March, April. Down to the last. Then what you have here is the summation of the values you have in the cells here. Let's move straight down to depreciation. It looks like there is a little problem with the value we have here. Depreciation. The system's supposed to pull the value from the operational plan sheet and multiply whatever you have in that sheet by 2 because it is bi-monthly. Bi-monthly. So whatever value you have there is going to be multiplied by 2, but somehow we have an issue here, and this definitely will affect the result. Now watch how I will resolve this. Division by 0 is an error. So let's go straight now to the operational plan sheet and see how we can resolve this division by 0 problem. Come back. Now, wow. Coming back to the table 3.1, Now, there is nothing that says that I must impute into all the rows we have here. If the equipment I need for my work is just like 3 or 4, that should be enough. But how come the system, I was expecting to see the summation? Can you see that? H3 to H16, which means it takes the value here, H3 down to H16 and drops the sum here. But there's an issue here. And once it is wrong here, it's going to affect the final result. That is the reason why you're seeing depreciation div by 0, div by 0 down to the last. There's already an issue. So let's quickly resolve this. How do we resolve this? Now, in order for this not to appear, I'm going to instruct the system to do something when it encounters this. The reason why it's having this problem is at this point, at this point we have a value, but at this point, so we don't have any value. Here also we don't have any value. Now, if this cell is supposed to be F5 divided by G5, this is F5 divided by G5, this is G. Now, if you say there is no value in your G column, the system treats it as 0. And any division by 0 definitely will give you an error. That's why you're seeing this error. So follow me. Let me quickly do, okay, I've already done something there, but I need to explain. What I did was to come straight back to my work. I will repeat so that you can relate with it. This was what you had originally. This was actually what you had in this very cell. Let me hit the enter key. Now, I came straight back here because I needed to take care of this so that the final outcome will be exactly what we wanted. Remember, I said it's not compulsory we impute equipment that we know are not needed. We mustn't feel this. So let's resolve this division by 0 error. I will come straight back here and introduce a condition. I bring a formula called the if error formula, and I go ahead and instruct the system what to do. I want to tell the system that if there is an error, what you should do in that cell is drop a 0. Otherwise, let's see the exact value. The reason for doing this is so that we can get a result here as a final output. So let's press the enter key at that point. Okay, I come straight to this cell, click in it, move my mouse and over it. Then when it changes to this crosshair, I click and drag down to fill other cells. Good, that takes care of. You see, I did not drag to this last cell. This last cell is having a different formula. I just dragged it down to this cell to take care of my division by 0. Immediately I did, the system updated this to give me the sum, which is exactly what we needed the system to return. Now let's go back and see how our profit and loss statement sheet is looking. Good, this is great. Now you see it's been corrected. The reason why it's been multiplied by 2 I already explained. The 2 here means you're dealing with 2 months by monthly. In other words, if yours was supposed to be 3 months, this becomes 3. But it's okay. I think up to this point we are good. So this is the depreciation for the first component, which is January, February in our case. This is March, April, down to this. Can you see that? I hope it does make sense. So the depreciation, total depreciation is this. Now for the rent. If the rent, what we have there, remember, is bi-monthly. If what we have there for 2 years, if you go back, where is it? Operational plan. You see the rent, we said 1 million for 2 years. The description is for what? 2 years rent, 1 million. So let's come. What cell was that? If you click in this cell, that is L15. So you trace to the left, row 15, columns L15. Nice. So let's come back. When I click in this cell, can you see that? L15. So we're taking the value in cell L15 from our operational plan sheet and we're dividing by 12. When you do that, it generates what you were supposed to pay in a month. Remember, bi-monthly 2 months, because we're doing the 24 month, so it just fits. So that's it. So when you do this spread, it gives you 1 million. I hope it makes sense to us. Okay, now let's go. The value here is not appearing because the cell is not wide enough. So good. For insurance, if there is any insurance, you go in here and start imputing. Other expenses you can impute. If there is none, you can leave it blank. Then the total expenses is going to be the summation from the B7 to B12. So you can, this is our B column, this is B7, operating expenses, then to B12. The sum, when you sum everything up here, gives you your total expenses for the first 2 months. You do same down to the last, and that's what you have there. Then the net profit before the tax. Let's see. We've seen the gross profit, which is this. How did we arrive at the gross profit? We just did the difference between the cost of sales and the total sales. Total cost of sales, took it from the total sales, we got the gross profit. Then now we're looking at the net profit before tax. How did we arrive at this? We said it's a difference between B5 and B13. Where is B13? Total expenses. So you need to remove the total expenses now from what you have here. This is B5. Can you see that? B5, just your gross profit. So once you remove the total expenses from your gross profit, you're going to have the net profit before tax consideration. So same thing applies to what we have here. So when you do that and take the summation, this is what you have. Then the next thing is we come straight to the income tax. Now, if the tax is 5% of the net profit, this is B14, this is B15. So to determine the income tax, let's say you're doing a 5%, so it becomes 5% off this. That's why you have this B14 multiplied by 5%. So that is how we arrived at this. The same thing applies to the last. And when you do the summation, you get this. Then the net profits after tax. Remember, this is the income tax. This is the net profit. To get this, you're going to subtract the value you have here from the value you have here. So this is B15, this is B14. Now look at it. B14 minus B15. So that's how we got the net profit after tax. And for the first 2 months, the next 2 months, down to the last. And when you take a summation, this is what you get. I hope this is informative for you. I'll see you in the next class. Thank you.